Hello, and welcome to our very first official Tech Lab Brief. Give us 30 minutes, and we'll give you the most relevant updates in tech news happening both in and outside of BK Tech Labs. We are your hosts,
I'm Ethan.
and I'm BK. Let's jump right into it. Apple sues OpenAI over 400 poached employees. Apple filed a massive lawsuit against OpenAI in a Northern California federal court, alleging trade secret theft. The lawsuit points to a coordinated campaign by OpenAI to raid Apple's silicon engineering, hardware design, and on-device AI teams over the past 2 years, moving beyond typical recruiting into structural IP risk. Apple sues OpenAI.
Feels like two titans fighting each other, you know?
If you look at the age differential between Apple and OpenAI, that's like, wow. But I guess, when it comes to companies and businesses, age is just but a number. Right?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I guess you shouldn't be stealing employees, especially if they're taking all their internal engineering designs and that kind of stuff. Then
Now that we're talking about it, and it was a wild scramble for us to get everything in place for today. There's a infamous clip not clip, it's actually a screenshot of a letter that Steve Jobs sent to the CEO of Adobe. I have it downloaded, I just couldn't get it onto our brief today. Maybe we'll put it on the VOD. So basically, Steve Jobs' email, this is back in 2005. He emails Adobe and he says, Bruce, Adobe is recruiting from Apple. They have hired one person already and are calling lots more. I have a standing policy with our recruiters that we don't recruit from Adobe. It seems you have a different policy.
what?
One of us must change our policy. Please let me know who.
Wow.
Steve. Yeah.
You don't hire from Adobe? We don't recruit from Adobe?
He's saying a lot there without really saying it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess on that note, best of luck to both Apple and OpenAI as they try to figure the situation out. I know that to me, it's a little bit wild that I'm pretty sure it was announced that Apple's Apple Intelligence is going to be powered by OpenAI. So, the fact that they're doing this is kind of mind blowing, or that Series E powered by OpenAI. So,
Yeah.
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 Good luck to the Titans, and may the best business win.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Moving on. So Gemini's 3.5 Pro launch date leaked, and reports indicate that Google will officially launch Gemini 3.5 Pro on July 17th. Google is aiming squarely at developers by offering a massive 2 million token context window at a disruptive 1.25 million input token rate, pricing it at a fraction of GPT 5.6 operational cost.
So
That's pretty soon.
they're going for the money game, huh?
Yeah.
Trying to charge a little bit less. I think it talked about having a million window cost, million token.
2 million.
2 million.
2 million token context window.
Yeah.
I guess for comparison, do you know what the other ones are? What's Codex's context window?
I think all of these AIs right now, well, GPT I know has always kept their context window into the hundreds of thousands. I think it's like 131. So whatever 2 to the 17 is, just funny, July 17th. It's a lot of news in AI in these last few weeks, huh?
Yeah.
Starting off with Fable, and then the GPT 5.6 just came out, and 3.5 Pro, they're going to push that out.
Yeah.
Just how do we know what any of this even means?
Who knows?
If only there was an app that could help us assess AIs on a level beyond just text. Moving on. Federal Reserve appoints Mark Andreessen. In a historic shift for monetary policy planning, the U.S. Federal Reserve appointed a A16Z co-founder, Mark Andreessen, to co-lead a new formal task force studying how AI agents affect labor dynamics, productivity, and the broader economic infrastructure.
I've never heard of A16Z. So can you explain a bit more about what that is?
So they're notorious, and I don't mean that in that way. It's we'll say in a good way. They're very well known in the Silicon Valley as one of the most successful venture capital firms out there.
Oh, it's venture capital? Mm.
So they look for businesses to invest in, tech businesses usually, and they just have a good track record. I can't remember the exact companies, but if we saw some of their logos, it would be pretty impressive. The companies invested in at the stage that they did.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, now they're getting into the Fed.
Yeah, it's,
I guess we could talk a little bit about what the Fed does. Ethan, what's your understanding of what the Fed does?
well, you're taking me back to my high school AP macroeconomics class, but
Are we now?
yeah, I believe the Fed controls interest rates. So the interest rates are, how much it has something to do with the banks, right? How much interest rates, the banks get charged on their loans from the Fed.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Fed sets this thing called the prime LIBOR rate, LIBOR, and it's like the base rate that sets the tone for the interest rates of all the other financial instruments. Um, and yes, control the interest rates is one of the primary levers that the Fed uses to moderate what we refer to as monetary policy. So I'm trying to think about money printing. I think that's done by Congress, though. I don't think the Fed does money printing.
Yeah.
Another major lever of managing the economy. Um, but now we're having a tech bro kind of be involved with, I guess, the research and this direction there.
What was he doing again? Something with, some new committee, was it? Um,
Right. So, a new formal task force. Task force.
hmm.
So, are they going to make the decisions? Maybe not, but they're going to have influence on it. I mean, wasn't it a whole thing when Elon Musk went into politics?
Yeah. And he was doing some other stuff that wasn't purely tech. So
Hmm. All right. Well, best of luck to the Fed and to Mark Andreessen and his new venture. And we move on.
yeah. So US restrictions accelerate an open source shift. So recent regulatory limits on proprietary frontier models have backfired into a massive adoption spike for open source AI. Data from OpenRouter reveals that Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI's combined token share dropped from 55% to 33%, with non-US open source models, led aggressively by China's DeepSeek, picking up the majority of enterprise volume.
Open source. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you used DeepSeek before?
When it first came out, I was working for an employer that was very security conscious. And one of the first things that there was like this initial reactionary fear of like any Chinese models that might have like some sort of, like phone home kind of capabilities embedded inside it. It was just like, oh, they might try to steal our data, which is a
Yeah.
kind of an attitude that we take on as Americans on certain levels. Um, but yeah, it's a very interesting situation where all these tokens are getting more expensive. We just saw how Google is gonna push out their frontier model,
A 1.25 was it $1.25?
dollars per million tokens. And with these open source models, it's not 100% clear how the pricing goes, but at the very least, you gotta pay for the GPUs, right?
Yeah, but it's significantly less than all the other like major US frontier models.
Mhm. Um, eh, I can't quite say, like, I think time will only tell how this all plays out. I haven't quite investigated usage of the open source models for coding. I personally really enjoy using the frontier models. I will give a shout out to OpenAI and Claude. Um, I haven't quite used Google much, but between Codex, which is OpenAI's coding AI, and Claude, especially with Fable 5 and 5 point GPT 5.6 that came out, they not only do they get the job done, they do it really well. And I've done a little bit of in the small testing that I've done with the open source models. It's kind of it's not quite, it leaves something wanting.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. But then I guess another perspective is that I was looking at artificial analysis benchmarks, and they were doing a comparison between, I think it was performance on the x-axis and then cost on the y-axis. And then they gave a sweet spot where it's like the highest performance for like the least amount of cost. And all the major, actually it was 5.6 Soul landed in the sweet spot, and Fable was all the way off on the right. It had the highest performance, but it also had one of the highest costs. And then actually the open source DeepSeek something Pro, like the DeepSeek's Pro model, it landed in the sweet spot as well.
Mm.
It was really cheap cost, but it had enough performance too. So
Yeah,
two perspectives.
I guess that's interesting. Like, as you're talking about costs with Fable in particular, we didn't put a news segment on this one, but it's it is a relevant piece of news that the availability of Claude Fable 5 has been extended yet again to July 19th. So take advantage of that while you can. I think this is the third time that they've extended it.
Yeah.
And I think I do agree that the cost of Fable 5 is going to be exorbitantly high. It's already shown to be quite expensive on the API pricing, but as long as they're making it available for the subscription, I don't think it's available on the free plan, but it is available for the pro. I mean, I feel like I'm marketing for part of this, but yeah, proprietary, open source. Who wins? What does it mean to win? Maybe we'll explore that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But we have one more last piece of interesting news for you. This thing called HalluSquatting, like HalluSquatting. A joint paper from Tel Aviv University, Technion, and Intuit. And Intuit is like a fintech, yes, exposed a dangerous software supply chain vulnerability called HalluSquatting. Attackers are pre-registering hallucinated packages or repositories that AI code assistants frequently invent. Tests revealed that code assistants fetch these malicious attacker-controlled repositories up to 85% of the time.
Should we be concerned about that, in your opinion?
Well, I think it comes down to a question of just what kind of attackers are making use of this, and what are their intents, and what are they. But no, so there's the topic of all these new attack vectors, especially with the AI stuff coming in. HalluSquatting. I'm going to switch back to it real quick. HalluSquatting is a new thing that's coming out. There's a lot to consider, a lot of variables, just like how we were talking about, like AI efficiency between performance and cost. In the security world as well, there's risk and there's likelihood, something like that. No, risk and it's mostly risk.
Okay.
Right. So what could potentially be exposed? Who are the potential adversaries? And what could they potentially want? You have to think about all these things, and then you don't want to think too paranoid, and we want to think positive. So it's all the balance thing. And this HalluSquatting thing, I think, was very interesting new piece of news that came out. It's inspired by a prior cybersecurity a hacking technique that was invented that existed for some time called domain squatting or typo squatting. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how everything's evolving so fast.
Yeah.
And I guess on that note, that'll bring us to today's knowledge segment. Today's knowledge segment is brought to you by BK Tech Labs, bringing in the era of collective intelligence, bringing an end to the gatekeeping of knowledge. Join us today, become a member, and shape the narrative. Help shape the narrative. All right, so knowledge segment. What we're gonna do today? Collective intelligence. Yes. Collective intelligence. That is this new term that, I mean, it already existed, but I want to highlight and bring more attention to for our business, for our Tech Lab business as we grow, and bring an end to the gatekeeping of knowledge. I'm gonna die by those words.
Yeah.
And we'll go on ReChat, and I did create a ReChat about asking Gemini about collective intelligence. I'm gonna bring this volume down because I know it's loud for you guys. Tell me about collective intelligence. It's the shared or group intelligence that emerges when many individuals collaborate, compete, or coordinate. Think of it as the phenomenon where a crowd of people can collectively solve problems, innovate, or make decisions far better than any single expert could on their own. It's ultimate proof that the whole can be much smarter than the sum of its parts.
Wow.
Many individuals collaborate, compete, or coordinate. Huh. I'm a big fan of those three-word alliterations. Yeah. Just having the same, starting the same, having a flow to the same series of words with some pattern. And collaborate, compete, or coordinate. And it doesn't say like humans, right? It doesn't say humans, it just says individuals, right? So collaborate, compete, or coordinate. But if we're competing, how can we collaborate or coordinate? I guess it's an or.
Yeah.
How it works, the core elements. For a group of people to exhibit true collective intelligence rather than just groupthink, 4 specific elements usually need to be present. Diversity of opinion, independence, decentralization, and aggregation. Diversity of opinion.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty important to have for collective intelligence. You need a wide array of different people with different opinions, all congregating and trying to come up with the best overall opinion.
The best overall opinion. What is best?
It's whatever the group decides.
Whatever the group decides. There's parameters and variables that we have to work around. Independence, then. Independence should not be determined by the views of those around them. Right. So a certain amount of like, hey, you know what? I don't think that the group think is right here. I wanna present this alternative opinion. But that word decentralization catches me. You know what it makes me think of?
What?
Bitcoin.
Oh.
No. But yeah, so the decentralization of, because it was a beautiful image. It was a beautiful, I guess, promise that Bitcoin was to give, the decentralized currencies. But the decentralization of ideas and thought, and then aggregation. That's interesting. Collective intelligence. Because it's not just human intelligence anymore, right? There's this new form of intelligence that that just seems to be anything anyone ever talks about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are you able to sit down with friends and not have a conversation and not have it eventually come to talk about AI?
I mean, yeah.
You know?
If I'm with tech people, no.
Hmm.
Tech people would talk about AI all the time.
You ever like hang out with friends and like you start to feel like, all right, I think we've been hanging out for a little too long today, and we should just call it. Like there are certain conversations where like if it goes there, it's like, all right, I think it's time to call it.
Yeah.
You have one in mind besides AI?
Maybe like philosophy. Well, once it gets like really, really abstract, start talking about, is life real? At that point, I think you should just
Existential dread.
yeah.
Interesting. It's interesting you say that because in my head was COVID. Once we start talking about COVID, it's like, all right, I think, all right, we'll pass through that little COVID conversation about how it sucked and now we're here. It's great. But I think that means it's time to go home. Or no, not go home, but like, we've talked enough.
Yeah.
And maybe we've talked enough for today's knowledge segment.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit more left.
I guess we could finish the
Finish the rechat. We got a whole half minute. We took a half minute of rechat and spent 10 minutes vamping on it. It's going to give us some examples of human systems. Oh, there we go. It talks about the human system. So I guess it's also going to talk about the artificial system.
Oh.
Biological systems. Ooh.
And
colonies.
that's even.
Bird flocks. I love how we just skipped over the humans. We weren't interested. Prediction markets off. Wikipedia.
Prediction markets.
Collective intelligence versus the wisdom of the crowd. The digital future. Human plus AI.
Hybrid collective intelligence.
Join us and help shape the narrative. All right. So that brings today's knowledge segment to an end, which brings us to the Barcade segment. Today's Barcade segment is brought to you by. Let's switch the button first. All right, here we are.
What is it brought to you by?
Kobe?
Sure.
All right, so where are we at? It's Team Blue's turn, and we're currently Team Red. That's denoted by the star.
Yep.
And yeah, it looks like Red did the right thing to take the queen, because I saw the last move and it was not very impressive. I don't know why the queen's here, but I guess they traded queens. Yeah, they traded queens here. Huh?
Yeah.
It's been a few moves made over the weekend. We gotta try to hold each other accountable to the global arena thing. Ace. We got there. Ace. It's a good one. Another one of those alliterations. Is it an alliteration? Just acronym.
That's an acronym.
Just an acronym. Yeah. All right. So, right. The pawn made its way to promote. So, yeah, the pawn could have been taken, but no, the queen decided to move itself up. And then the queen, and then promotes the queen, rook takes, and then just, I guess C pawn moves up, knight. It's like we're playing regular, we're kind of playing regular. And there's like, well, actually, no, yeah, I guess the knight walked right into this capture.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you take my knight, I'm going to take a queen. All right, we trade queens. So I think right now, I feel like right now the meta of the barcade is just making fun of the silly moves that the AI will make.
Yeah.
Especially on the global arena, which is all set to like really like light AIs.
Yeah.
Flash AIs is that's what Google says. We'll say light. Light's better term there. The light AIs, and they're not exactly converging. Although I will say the last move did converge on the king to take the
Yeah.
to recapture. Oh, because it was in check, and the only legal move, I say. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess at this point the challenge is what's the quickest end to this game?
For who? White or black? Either?
Well, I mean, we're technically team red here, which is white. But then, for those of you at home, if you check out the barcade and log in, you notice maybe you're in the blue team, and you can help guide this game to the end, or to some end that you would help shape the narrative. You would help shape. Okay, so it's. I mean, this is we're voting on a prediction here. So we have to deselect that because that book's still there. So what do we do? This king has moved here. Can develop some pieces. I guess we should take this pawn, right?
Yeah.
With the king, or stacking pawns is no good.
Yeah, I think king is better because king's not in any real threat, even if you go out into the center like that.
Yeah. Oh, this bishop can. Nah, that bishop can't really do anything. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll submit that. And then tic-tac-toe. This team red's turn. We'll do the winning move. The best possible move, I guess.
Yep.
And then connect 4, I think, is a win no matter what. Oh no, it's yellow's turn. Oh, but still, I mean, it's.
Oh yeah.
Unless team red misses the winning move. So, well, this is a prediction, so Let's do that. Checkers. It's blue move as well. And I think this 1-2 to 0-3.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So then it traps this red piece. So we'll do that. And that brings our barcade segment to an end. And coincidentally, that does bring our brief to an end. Our today's brief to an end. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed watching the stream. We hope you enjoyed watching our show just as much as we enjoyed planning it. As always, our doors are open. We'd love to hear what you think about our program, and leave your comments in the chat. And now, your minute of Zen. During my minute of Zen, it came into my head. I forgot in the closing spiel. I'm supposed to say, catch us for our next brief at 5 p.m. later tonight. Because then at the end, after the minute of Zen, I'll be like, all right, let's lock in. Have a great day, and we'll see you at 5. Bye now.